said, if all else fails, I said, we'll ask them what we need to do, because he only has till Friday
How's
to
Scott
do
doing?
those tests.
How you doing? I'm actually fully vaccinated. I'm just
Frustrated.
It's okay, you can be as paranoid as you want.
Somebody has to be afraid.
Hey, how are you? Good, how are you doing?
I know how you just love the information. What are you doing?
Who do I have on the line?
She's doing good.
I'm sorry?
She's all getting the coffee.
Oh, okay, I thought you,
I was out buying caramels and
you as a business
instant
owner.
coffee and flavor and sugar crystals.
I mean, I don't know what your life
That's
is.
fine. This is there. She feeling good about the submission?
I'm not on the hot one.
So,
30, he gets up at 7 o'clock.
okay.
Hey, Nikki.
I can't do those late nights.
My husband and I both went to bed at like a little after 9 last night, and he goes, what are we doing in bed at like 9 o'clock? And I'm like, it's because we get up at 6 and we're just exhausted. I'm like, no more staying up all night.
Just looking forward to starting to work with
Going to bed at midnight and still getting up and going to work at 6, you know?
Like, that's such an area of like, this is
Yeah, I was just trying to
Good morning, Solicitor Smith here.
Well,
Good
me,
morning.
because I coupon and this chocolate. Okay.
That was fun. It didn't set, but right back.
Do I have anyone else on the line?
Ethan Yorks.
Okay. Morning, everyone. Just ask you to please rise for our opening prayer and pledge of allegiance. Almighty God, we thank you for this midsummer morning where we can gather and conduct the business of the county. We are thankful for our beautiful valley that you've created that we call home. May we always appreciate and marvel at your creation. Father, we remember this week on Saturday, 25 years ago, when we lost 21 loved ones from our community on Flight 800. We will always remember that day when we lost 16 students and 5 chaperones. They were sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers and friends. All were brilliant and vibrant lives that touched so many in their short time span. We ask you to comfort their families, their friends, and our community as we remember them each day. Lord, I pray that you'll preside over this meeting and guide us in your wisdom. Let us be decisive, and let our needs be met. These things we humbly pray in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll convene the Commissioners' public meeting at this time and ask for the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll move to approve. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Public comment on agenda items only at this time. Hearing none, we have bid openings.
Bid openings with Nikki Gottschall. Nikki, are you on the line?
I am on the line. We received 7 bids for the landfill gas wells, liquid pumps, and air compressors. I'm still in the process of opening them on 10 bid. but they are multi-line bids. So I'm assuming that Jason and Maya are going to have to go through these line by line to check these out.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, is there any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
For this week's informational survey series for county departments and what they do for you, Gregory Bonsall from the Conservation District is going to speak today.
Morning, Greg.
Morning. How's everybody doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm going to try to get you guys a little bit involved with this presentation, and hopefully by the end you'll learn something. Does everybody, I guess first off, know that the county has a conservation district? Okay, good. So back in the early 1930s, we had the Dust Bowl. Now that didn't affect us as much around here as it did in the Midwest, but because of the Dust Bowl is why conservation districts were started. So I'm going to just highlight a few things that I think a lot of us can relate to. So pay attention as I get through this list. If you like to drink clean water, travel, relax, eat, garden, swim, camp, fish, walk, watch birds, hike, or go boating, then you benefit from the work of Pennsylvania's conservation districts. And this is just a small list of the things that we do. So one big misconception, if you don't leave today with anything else, I would ask that you all leave knowing that probably the biggest misconception is conservation districts just work with farmers. And that is 100% false. Because of the Dust Bowl and the need to try to conserve topsoil, that is why conservation districts were started. But we have transitioned so much in the years since the conservation districts were started. There is 66 conservation districts in Pennsylvania. The only county that doesn't have a conservation district is Philadelphia County. Now they have a conservation organization, so it's somewhat like a conservation district, but I'll talk about funding a little bit later, and that's really the only difference between Philadelphia and every other county. So as I said, conservation districts were started in basically between 1930 and 1945 is when the first districts started. Now, probably most of you said you did know that Lycoming County has a conservation district. Does anybody know the significance of July 20th? Probably not. So, without being discriminatory, I'm just going to say, is there anybody in here that remembers July 20th, 1956? On July 20th, 1956, the Lycoming County Commissioners created the Lycoming County Conservation District. So in a few days here, we're coming up on the 65th anniversary of the Conservation District. So as I said, we started back in July 20th, 1956, and we've now evolved to what we are today. And that's what we'll really focus on here in a few minutes. Just to let you know, a conservation district is basically your local organization, your one-stop shop, where you can go to find out about locally led conservation programs. The nice part about the conservation district is you get to know a local person, you get to see a face that you recognize, and you may come in and you may say, on my commute to work this morning, I saw an injured bear cub. What do I do? Obviously, the conservation district, that's not our department, but we work closely with the Game Commission, the Fish Commission, DCNR, the Army Corps of Engineers. There's a whole list of agencies that we partner with and work with every day. So we are your local go-to, and we can put you in touch with those people if you need to do so. We are a little bit different than some county departments because we have a 7-member board. Our board is made up of 1 commissioner rep. We have 3 farmers and 3 what they call urban members. So that board basically just steers us a little bit in the environmental areas, in the program areas, gives us some guidance. They're kind of our eyes and ears out there too to see what is interesting and what may be coming up that we should be involved in, or they also make decisions what we may not want to get involved in. We are generally a small department. We're a department of 7, including myself, and I do take great pride. I'm only 7 months into the job, but the average years of service in the conservation district is over 10 years. So I think that speaks for itself of the passion that these individuals have for their jobs. So you hear all that and it sounds great, but then you say to yourself, what does a conservation district do? And to be quite honest, when I'm in my senior year at Penn State and came home to Middleburg at that point on a Sunday morning, and I'm looking at the newspaper and I see an ad for conservation district technician. So to me, I had no clue what that meant, but it did mean dollar signs and I needed to get a job, or I'm sure my parents would probably have kicked me out at that point if I didn't have a job. So I signed up, applied to be in a conservation district as a technician. So many districts have, there could be anywhere from, like I said, we have 7 staff members. Some of your northern tier counties only have 2 or 3, maybe 4. Some of your southern counties like Lancaster, they could have up to 30. Lancaster has, I'll talk about our technicians. Lancaster has some technicians that they're assigned just to certain townships. I mean, that's how much workload they have down there. So we're pretty much, we're in the middle. I mean, we are the largest county in the state, but we do have 7, so that's pretty good. We have myself, I'm the manager, I take care of a bunch of different things on that end, but the real heart of it is the technicians, and we have an E&S technician, Matt Long. What Matt's job is, and here's a quiz question for you. I'll take 2 answers, 2 guesses. What's the number 1 pollutant to the waters of the Commonwealth?
Sediment.
Mercury.
Exactly right, sediment. And I tell people when I speak at Penn State or any school group and I ask this question, I get oil, tires, I get all kinds of stuff. And I tell them, if you don't believe me, drive by the Loyal Sock today. The Loyal Sock looks like it's flowing chocolate milk. I mean, that is the sediment being mixed up. So Matt's job, although, you may say, well, what's he doing? Because it is still very brown this morning. Matt's job is to make sure that he is in charge of reducing sedimentation to the waters of the Commonwealth. So Matt reviews plans for development, for residential construction, for any activity that has earth moving over 5,000 square feet. That's Matt's job. Matt makes sure that the silt socks are up, the rock construction entrances are in. We can't catch it all, but we try to do our best. We try to make sure that we definitely reduce sedimentation to the waters of the Commonwealth. The next kind of interesting, I always get a chuckle out of this when I deliver the presentation. The next technician is called an Ag Conservation Technician / Nutrient Management. So nutrient management is very straightforward. That person, Tim Heiler, his job is to make sure that not too much manure is being put on the available acres. And that's manure and fertilizer, but it's very important because manure buildup is not a good thing. Too much nitrogen getting into our waterways is not a good thing. So basically, Tim deals in crap all the time, and that's that's one way to put it. Tim makes sure everything's balanced out. We're very fortunate here in Lycoming County that we don't have an excess of manure, that we have the available acres for it, but Tim's job is to make sure that that's taken care of. Some of the other things that he may do under the Ag Conservation Technician portion would be like just yesterday, One really neat thing about the Conservation District is you never know from day to day what you're getting into. Yesterday we got a call about flies. You know, it's hot, it's humid. If there is manure or animals out there, you can get problems with flies. So that's one complaint we had yesterday, and that's something that Tim would take care of. The third technician I'm going to mention is Rod Morehart. He does the Chesapeake Bay program. So obviously we are in the Bay watershed. The Chesapeake Bay is very important. EPA has put the Chesapeake Bay under the microscope, which in turn has put, DEP has put the Bay under the microscope, and that comes back to us. A lot of the programs we do, we are delegated, so we carry out the duties of DEP. So Rod's job right now, and it's always evolving, so I say right now because we don't know what the future is going to hold, but Rod's job right now is to make sure he goes out to 50 farms at minimum a year. When he goes to those farms, he has to do what's called an agricultural inspection. Every farm, if you are tilling more than 5,000 square feet, you have to have an ag erosion and sedimentation plan or a conservation plan. If you are mechanically applying manure, you have to have a manure management plan. Rod's job is to make sure that the farmers have both of these plans. If they do not, Rod then helps them develop the plans, creates maps, and gets everybody into what DEP calls compliance. The fourth technician is Carrie Entz. Carrie wears a bunch of hats. Carrie's our watershed specialist. Carrie is our environmental educator, and Carrie also right now is helping a lot with the West Nile program. So, you know, today Carrie is setting traps. She's going to be treating some areas tomorrow. There for a while when it was dry, we didn't have a big problem with mosquitoes, but now because of the moisture and humidity and some low-lying areas, we're getting more problems. So Carrie does that. If anybody watched the news this morning, luckily we dodged the bullet last night and we did not get the flooding they did in Bradford County. Had we gotten that flooding, Carrie would be getting calls about emergency permits and how to help get, fix up problems that where the stream came out of its banks and make sure that doesn't happen again. So Carrie does a lot with our local waterways, and on the education end, she is our educator. She does a great job on that. Good part for her is generally education flows with the school calendar. So right now she's kind of at a standstill until fall arrives. The next to last technician is Kellen Crate. Kellen deals with the Dirt and Gravel Roads program. The Dirt and Gravel Roads program was developed basically at the encouragement of Trout Unlimited to get all dirt roads so they're not dirt. So driving surface aggregate is put down. It's basically a compacted material that allows the reduction of sediment to get into the waters. Kellen brings, in that program alone, some people may say, why is that a full-time program? In that program, Kellen brings about $500,000 to the municipalities to help improve the roads. Now, there is a small portion that's called low volume, so Kellen puts traffic counters out, and if a road qualifies for low volume, then they do some paving, and he can help with those projects too, but that's a pretty significant amount, and there's still, everybody remembers the dirt road that you grew up on or that you played on, whatever, but people think that's a thing of the past, but there's still a lot of roads to be treated around here. The last position in my department is the admin assistant. That's Denise Moser. Denise, keeps us all on track, keeps a bunch of our fiscal stuff in line, and she's just a real asset to our department. In addition to the 7 full-time people, we also have 1 part-time, Mark Davidson, the former director of conservation, and Mark does the ag land preservation program. Ag land preservation to me is very important. It serves a bunch of purposes. Number one, it preserves the open land that we have. We're very fortunate to have open land here in central PA. There's places where development needs to occur, but there's also places that we want to preserve. So Mark deals with that right now. I believe he added, and this is in 2020, he added 200 acres to the already over 10,000 acres of preserved land in Lycoming County. So that's pretty significant. Over 10,000 acres. Of course, like I said, we're working in the largest county in the state, but 10,000 acres is very important, and that's going to be a huge factor with the last thing I want to mention is, so hopefully as I went down through there, it was a little drawn out, but it is kind of important just to go through all the technicians and what they do, but you can see how we moved from an organization that dealt with farmers and soil runoff to all these other, I'm just going to call them things, all these other areas where we focus. And remember that this list is always evolving. You know, right now we're working with Shannon and her department with the countywide action plan. And that's where things like ag land preservation are going to tie into and be very important with that. It's going to help with some flood reduction to have those areas. And, you know, we also have things that we don't even know. If I had a crystal ball and you said predict the future, I have no idea. Things like spotted lanternfly, you know, that luckily we don't have that here. But when we do, if it does hit, then we'll probably be somewhat in charge of that program. Now, most of that will be the Department of Ag, but you can see how we get into a bunch of different things. Maybe not really involved, but we do get involved in things like that. Solar energy, wind energy, stuff that we keep on the back burner, but we know that we have a role in working with that sort of thing. So, you know, in closing, the district is a very valuable asset, I feel, to the county. As far as, you know, budget-wise, thankfully, almost all of our budget is reimbursed through the state because we do a lot of their programs. The programs I mentioned that my technicians do are fully funded to the most part from the state, and we're very thankful for that. And we hope that, you know, in the years to come, we can continue to serve the residents of Lycoming County. That's our #1 goal. And we want to, with the over 10 years of service, it's nice that someone can know who they're going to talk to. Like I said, thankfully we didn't have the flooding last night, but there were some in previous years. There were some bad flooding events, and we may deal with a client today and not deal with them for 5 more years. But it's really nice to know that you're going to deal with the same person and be able to get those problems resolved. So we're pretty much your local environmental agency for any problem. If we don't know the answer, we'll point you in the right direction. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Greg.
Yep, thank you.
Greg, you
Yes.
obviously, in the short 7 months you've been here, have integrated yourself really well, and we appreciate that because all the things you went through is quite amazing. And even though I sit on the board, I learned some things from it also. So it's a really good report, and thank all the people out there in the department from the commissioners because we
Will do.
certainly appreciate the work that you do.
Yep, and also a side note, we were out at the Livestock View, which is the county farm, and if you haven't had a chance to see their what is it called, the sensory garden or the nature trail, stop on out and we'll give you a tour because it's one of those hidden gems of the county, and we're gonna highlight that more in the future.
I had the honor to do that about 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
We had a tour, and it's a hidden gem in the
It
county.
is, and it's amazing because you think about a garden like that and all the opportunities here in the county, but there's always moms and dads and children there, you know, anytime throughout the day.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have the accounts payable cash requirements report with Brandy Clemens.
Morning, Brandy.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here to present the cash requirements report for your approval for invoices due through 7/21/2021 to be paid on 7/14/2021 in the amount of $1,120,686.99.
Okay, is there any questions or discussion?
No, I just, to point out for the public again, $773,619.86 is RMS, so that's almost 70% of the weekly payout. And then grants is almost 39,000, so the county general taxes are about 308,000.
And a large portion of that this time is the pass-through for the hotel taxes. I bet probably half of
the
what's
county.
there for the county. So, yeah, it was mostly covered in other revenues this time. You guys didn't have any trouble finding any of the invoices this week? Matt had filed them last week, I guess, and some of them aren't necessarily alphabetically the way you would think, so we ended up having them all, but I don't know where in the file they were exactly. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and I only mention those things because when people hear these numbers, they probably wonder where all the money's going. But obviously, it takes a lot of money for the landfill to run it, and that comes from the revenues that come in there, so.
And Field 12 is a big part of it,
Right.
which is going to be the new field that do open. Okay. A motion to accept the accounts payable.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
On fair side?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye. So carried, thank you.
Personnel actions with Roxanne Grieco.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Roxanne.
At RMS at Resource Recovery, James E. Schneider, full-time replacement, Materials Recovery Facilities Maintenance Specialist, pay grade A at $20.01 an hour, effective July 19th, 2021. Also at RMS Operations, Charles E. Snyder, full-time replacement equipment operator, pay grade 6, $18 an hour, effective July 19th, 2021. If I could take these two first, and then I'll do the
Okay.
next one separate.
A motion to accept these two.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
On fair side? Aye. So carried.
And Commissioners, we're asking you to vote on the personnel actions that were processed for the month of June 2021.
Any questions on those personnel actions? A motion to accept.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All fair side? Aye. So carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
6.0, we have an informational item, and Rochelle Abbott from STEP Incorporated is here. This is in regards to the ERAP update.
Great, thank you. Good morning, Rochelle. We're honored to have you here today and to hear the great news that you and Steph and your staff have been doing on the work program, so.
Yeah. Good morning, Commissioners. So I just wanted to give everybody an update on the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. This is funding that is directly coming to Lycoming County through the Department of Human Services, DHS, and it's a federally allocation based on the population of Lycoming County as well as the number of rental units in Lycoming County. So the program started in the last week in February when we got it actually up and running and started bringing in applications. To date, we have had 895 applications come to our office. Majority, when they are coming into our office, they are not completed yet. And so, there is a lot that are in process still. To date, we have completed 360 in total, meaning those 360 have actually been paid. In payment, we have actually paid out $1,535,463.88. And so the allocation that Lycoming County has is actually $7.4 million for this program. The number that is processed totaled that 1.5-ish million, and that went to 198 different payees. So a payee is both either a landlord or a utility that we are paying on behalf of that tenant who is unable to do the payments. And so there are specific income requirements that a tenant has to have to be able to be part of that program, and that is to be part of the under 180% of the area median income. So for example, a family of 4, they have to have less than $51,900. And so that's, typically what we're seeing. In terms of amount of payments for an individual, as a tenant, what they're coming in at, that very much ranges based on the number of months that they are back on their rent. We can pay up to 12 months of rent in total, so that would be both arrears and forward rent. If we're doing forward rent, we have to do re-eligibility every 3 months. And so we are keeping caseload, so anyone that has a forward rent, we are actually contacting them on a regular basis to ensure that contact is continuing. We are working with them on goal plans, and we are actually getting that income on a monthly basis. Because what we don't want to do is for people to kind of fall off the radar. The whole idea is for them to get off of the program, and so that is really important for us to kind of keep those connections. So our case management is pretty intense right now, as you can imagine, and we have 126 applications that are ready to be processed. So those are ones that we are waiting for like one more piece to be completed. The rest of those applications, which kind of leaves like 300-ish, those we are waiting for documentation on. So the landlord needs to provide information as well as the tenant. If the tenant does not provide a piece of that information, we have to contact them. And sometimes we contact multiple times. If we reach out 3 times and do not receive any feedback from them, we send a 10-day letter. And that basically says you have 10 days to get us that information or we're going to close your case. What do folks think happened on the 10-day when they get that letter? And the 10th day after they get that letter, we typically get something, or on the 11th day. And if that happens, we do have to reopen that case. And so, unfortunately, that kind of moves someone back in the line, because we need to be very equitable in kind of how we're processing these. But we are giving everyone, various chances to get to where they need to be. I'd say the landlords in Lycoming County have been extremely gracious and good to work with. And I think that has been, really shows their appreciation for the program. The utilities have also been great. PP&L has received over $115,000. UGI, I was just looking at my report here. And UGI is over $78,000. So those are the 2 big utilities, as well as the Williamsport Area Water Authority. And all these documentations and how the utilities work is an individual provides a utility bill. They say that they're either back on or it's a current bill. They are already income eligible. I actually do the verification with the utility company, making sure that individual has that, has the amount, because sometimes what's actually on the bill isn't what actually they need to pay. And so we also have to make sure all payments are after that March of 2020, which is really important. And so there's a lot of kind of little pieces within the process that we have to make sure of. Because this program is over $7 million in total, and we've used already over $700,000, this program will actually be under our single audit this year. So it's really critical that all of our documentation is up to date and current, and that audit process will actually be starting here at the end of July. And so they will be looking at all the legislation, because this is actually a legislative program under Act 1 in the Pennsylvania, and there has been changes to that program. And so they're going to be looking at that, and then looking at our files, looking at how we pay out. We are atypical in the fact that we are actually paying out the payees, so the landlords and the utilities, on a weekly basis. And so we feel like it's really important that that process kind of moves very quickly. So once they are approved, we are paying them out on a weekly basis every Friday, and the checks are received probably Tuesday by the time they're in the mail. So it's really critical for us. A lot of these folks have had a significant amount of debt that they've been holding because they have not been receiving rental payments, and so we feel it's important that we're moving that process very quickly along. Is there any questions up to this point on any of those pieces?
Is there a timeline to allocate the $7 million?
Yeah, so actually the new legislation that was received and approved just basically 2 weeks ago now has moved it out to September 30th of 2022. So now the state of Pennsylvania does have to encumber 65% of its total allocation by December 31st. That has not changed. But they feel like they are going to be able to do that. We are on bi-weekly calls with DHS and getting those updates. And so that particular program, this is ERAP 1 that we're talking about. There is a second allocation that will be coming to Pennsylvania, that actually has come to Pennsylvania, that DHS is going to be distributing, and so Lycoming County will likely get another piece of that, which is called ERAP 2, which will be going till, I think it's December 30th, 2025. We have not heard any of the details specifically to ERAP 2, but we have been told there's some of the pieces in ERAP 2 that we now have to use in ERAP 1. One of those things is categorically eligible. And so we had thought that this would mean that we would be able to process applications quicker, because we are actually going right into the DHS system called Compass and actually verifying if an individual receives LIHEAP, cash assistance, what other services they receive from the state. If they receive those services, we can make them eligible without having the income documentation. The problem is, a lot of our individuals, there's other documents that they are not providing. Tenant agreements, leases, landlord verifications. Those are the type of things, W-9s for the landlord. Those are the things that our folks are not putting in their application packet. And so it's still important, and we need to get all those documents before we're processing. So the longest time frame in terms of getting the process is a complete application and then making sure we have all that documentation. So we have 7 staff right now working pretty much full time on this, and we're having a conversation as to whether or not we need to add more. Some counties have actually set up call centers to do this work because we are doing the case management, really because we don't want individuals to come back for assistance. We think it's really important that they become self-sufficient after this process. We are doing that case management, which does take some extra time. But for us, there's the value in moving somebody to self-sufficiency.
So if I'm someone such as a landlord or a tenant or a utility company that needs the money, who do we contact?
So you are going to be contacting, there's 2 things. If you are a landlord and you have a tenant that has not been paying rent, you are going to work with that tenant to do the application. And so the tenant has a piece of the portion of the application they need to do, and so does the landlord. If the application project is complete, you can actually do the application on the website, stepcorp.org/LycoRent, and that's the easiest way to do it. This is a jot form, meaning it's all digital. You literally just put everything in. You can upload your documents. You can take pictures of the lease, so we made it as easy as possible. All those pieces in, and then that's how you're getting in the queue for payment. And so like I said, we're doing payments every week. Once you have all the verifications, we do have to call every landlord and discuss with them to make sure their arrears are correct. What sometimes happens is the tenant is saying they have arrears of $1,000, but the landlord's putting on the document that is $2,000. We need to make sure those numbers match because of auditing. So, and we need to pay the correct amount. Late fees are also something that, some leases have late fees that are in their lease. Some people are doing late fees that are like supplementary documents, and that makes it challenging. So it's like an addition to the lease that there's a late fee, so we need to get that addition to the lease that has it, because if they're not matching in the lease, we can't pay those pieces.
Does this program accept late mortgage payments?
So mortgage payments are actually coordinated through PHFA. And so that is the program that you're going to go if there's somebody has a late mortgage. We have received an allocation from, and we haven't processed it yet, but we're going to be for Montoursville Borough. CDBG funds has given us money to help individuals who are back on their mortgages. And so we will be rolling out that program specifically for Montoursville Borough.
Michelle, is this for folks that are primarily impacted by COVID or not?
Yes, so one of the eligibility criteria is you have to be affected by COVID. It says in the specific regulations that there has to be a direct or indirect. We have had 72 individuals who were denied, or 75 individuals that have been denied eligibility, and majority of those are actually because they are not completing the application or there is no relationship to COVID. What that means is you are on unemployment due to a job loss. You can actually showcase the income drop. A person, we've had actually quite a lot of people in Lycoming County who have long-term effects from having COVID. Some have are on the waiting list for lung transplants and stuff like that, so they are no longer able to work. And so those are the individuals, you know, that we are working on. We also have to take fraud very seriously. And so if there are allegations or something just seems funny, we are working with DHS on those and, you know, making our own, you know, verifications as to, okay, we're not going to pay this, but then we also make sure that DHS, because they're the ultimate funder of this, are okay with us not paying an individual if they are going to come and actually have a, the individual is going to appeal. And so there is an appeal process for individuals who are not funded. So far, we haven't had anybody appeal our decisions. We've had some landlords, like, you know, want it to be quicker, but like I said, we're paying weekly, the ones that are processed. The communication between a landlord and a tenant is critical, you know, making sure that they are putting their paperwork in at the same time. Because oftentimes we'll have a landlord put in something, but we didn't get anything from the tenant, you know, and we're waiting, you know, for those things.
So Rochelle, the program allocated $7.4 million.
Mm-hmm.
We've used 1.5, so we have approximately just under $6 million left.
Yes.
And then you said of the 1.4, UGI was 708,000?
78,000.
78,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So really the bulk of the money has gone to the landlords,
Yes.
with about 200,000 going to the utility.
Now there are other utilities because you can also pay for trash and water and sewer, and so we've had some of those as well. And we have a lot of different water authorities in the county, and so we have pretty much had some payments to each of those as well, but nothing as great as the PPNL and UGI. You know, I think like the Williamsport Water Authority is like 26,000, and the Lycoming County is like 700 or something like that.
Yeah, you know, there's been a lot of discussion back and forth about whether we should be essentially borrowing the money at the federal level to pay it. But what hopefully people will keep in mind is that when we have a recession like we experienced as a result of COVID, a contraction in the economy, if we don't inject money into the system, what happens is all along the line it trickles down. So the landlord doesn't get paid, he doesn't pay his employees, she doesn't pay the person to fix the roof, they don't pay their water bill. Hopefully they don't stop paying their taxes, but the goal is to keep the system moving so that it can recover and then generate the tax revenue necessary to repay at the federal level. But all of these payments that you're making are going and then being used by landlords to pay people to continue working.
Mortgages, oftentimes,
mortgages,
those
fixing,
things.
you know, so I think it's really for our community, especially a city like Williamsport, where 60% of the rent units are rentals, 40% are owner occupied. It's critical to have this kind of help, and I just want to thank you all for what you're doing with it, and I know my colleagues feel the same way. And, you know, honestly, the case management is really critical, and it's not required under the regulations, is it?
It is.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It is. There is a requirement for the case management for forward pieces. We are actually doing it as how we do our regular case management in terms of goal plans, self-sufficiency matrices. So we're bolstering that a bit.
Yeah, you're doing more
because we need to make sure that the person, after we make these payments, that they are housing stable.
Right.
And so we have had, situations where people have been evicted during the process. We do have in another pot of funding hotel funds, which we just got another injection of, which is critical because there isn't a lot of affordable housing units in Lycoming County. And so in the meantime, we're having to put people up in hotels until we can help them find another place. The big piece about this program is that the landlord, once they are paid, they really have to keep that person, stable in that apartment. That's really important.
Yeah.
One of the things I didn't bring, and I thought I really printed it out, but I printed out 1,000 things, are a couple really good success stories. So, I'll send those to you if that's okay. One off the top of my head, an individual, there was some particular COVID issues. She wasn't able to make payments, but typically when she was back to work, she'd be able to. And so, the program can be for 12 months. She did sign up for the full 12 months, but after 5 months, she was actually back working and did not have to use the rest of the funding. Those are things that we really like to see, that we're getting people back to stable, and then they're not being bogged down by this debt once they are back at a full-time job.
Yeah, and for full disclosure, I have rental units and I've had tenants who have participated, but I've also seen the success of some of them who, through COVID, had lost jobs, and now as the economy's come back, they've been able to get a job, and one of them, in fact, started a small business in addition to her job, and is moving forward, and they hadn't paid it for a while, but the point is that it helps our community. What I mentioned about the case management is that you're going above and beyond, and I think you should keep the commissioners informed about that, because obviously STEP has its own cost to run it also. And when you say you're using 7 people, and I know, Commissioner, you're on the board of STEP.
Yes, Rochelle every week sends us an update on this, and we
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, and it's. As I look at the numbers and see what 7 people are doing, it's just, we had to bring you here to tell people how impressive your work has been. And these are people that were affected by COVID, and they need help. And we couldn't do this on a county level with our staff. I mean, Shannon and planning, what they did with the CARES was over and above, and there are people and Maya and her staff, and so for you to take on this program, CEDACOG helped us with the CARES Act, with the EAR program. What your staff has done has been tremendous. We got a beautiful email last week from PP&L saying how much they appreciated what you did, and for people, they have to keep their lights and power on, and it's electric heat.
Yep.
So for you to provide that and get the monies out to those people and the utilities, that's the number one thing is food, shelter. And if you can provide that shelter and those utilities, it reduces that stress tremendously on people that have experienced this crisis.
We're saving a lot of people from shut-off because we have a good relationship with all the utilities. So when I hear somebody has a shut-off, we're paying them this week, then I can contact the utility and say, please don't shut them off. Like, put a stay on it. You'll get your check next week. And they're doing that, which, I feel like we're very lucky in Lycoming County to have that relationship with PP&L, UGI, and a lot of the water companies and sewer companies that they are willing to do that. In good faith, know that we'll be paying them because we have been for the last 17 weeks, regularly. And I think, STEP, as a community action agency for Lycoming County, this is our role. We are an arm of you, and this is, our wheelhouse that this is what we do. The case management and the coordination, and it really, the supportive housing program that Lycoming County had got us ready for this, right? Because we already had relationships with all of the landlords. I think we'd be in a much more difficult spot if we hadn't already had that program through Lycoming County, and I'm really happy that we have that. And we are making that transition for some of the people that have particularly long or terminal illnesses into that SHP program. Because those individuals aren't going to be able to get by with that 12 months, but maybe an 18-month, which is the SHP, they will be. So we're making those pieces because, you know, it was like everything happened to some people in this last year that, you know, like one thing happens and everything does. So, you know, try and keep them stable.
Are you running this program with existing personnel, or did you need to hire additional personnel?
Yeah, so we did hire 2 additional staff for this program who are full-time, and we are doing overtime right now for our staff to get through, like I said, those ones that still need to be processed, so we can get to, you know, a level where applications come in. If we get them all, we can kind of move them very quickly instead of having a stack. So we are going to be talking about that actually this afternoon, whether or not we need to hire another person. We are very conservative when it comes to hiring because we really want somebody to stay with us for a long time, and we think that's really important. And so, you know, if we can do it within our existing staff, and that's what we're going to be looking at, capacity within our other departments, to really try to, you know, keep that moving. So, you know, we are continually looking at that on a weekly basis to determine what is the most, you know, fiscally conservative way to be doing this program so that we're maximizing the benefit to the customers and to the county and to the utilities and the landlords, but also being able to process them, you know, in an efficient manner.
In my traveling, I heard from so many landlords and a couple tenants, okay, that they're not applying.
Really?
Yes. And which puzzles me.
Mm-hmm.
And is there enough outreach?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have enough outreach? Do people know that this exists?
Yes.
And I mean, they come up to me, I'll say at least once a week.
Yeah.
I have somebody come up to me and say, boy, what's available for us? We're still hurting. And you know, I said, well, you know,
Yeah.
I didn't know the complete answer, but
Yeah.
I said, try to get on to the STEP website, and now you gave that information.
And I'm going to give you these that have more information. I think there's a couple of reasons why landlords aren't applying than they've told us. They want to kick the person out. And so they don't want that tenant to stay there. And if they go through this program, they at least have to continue while we're paying to have them in that apartment. And so I think that's an unfortunate thing because they could really get their arrears, you know, and some forward rent. But that's what they're telling us because some people have reached out.
Is there a requirement beyond, for the landlord, is there a requirement beyond the last payment?
So in ERAP 2, I think, I don't know exactly, but not in ERAP 1. So not right now in this funding. But they need, if the individual is applying for, let's say, 3 months back rent and then 9 months forward rent, they'd have to keep that individual in there for those 9 months forward. And landlords that are calling and inquiring about the program don't want to do that. Those are the ones that aren't applying. Now, like I said, we have 198 payees currently. We are not only the ones that are publicizing it, but DHS is also, and they are directing people both to the Compass website and to ours. And so really, like this one right here has these little pull tabs. And so like cut some of these off and keep them in your wallet and just hand them to folks, you know, because like we really want to get to everyone. We did reach out to our entire landlord database, which is a few hundred landlords, and actually personally called each of them. And these are the landlords that we worked through with SHP and some of the other ones that we kind of hadn't been hearing in the beginning. So back in February, March timeframe, we actually called and left them the messages or talked to them to say, you know, this program's coming up, you know, work with your tenants, get your applications in. So we've been doing a lot of that personal communication too with the landlords because that's how we feel like they're going to get to where they need to go. I mean, I'd be happy to provide you and to give you this list of the individuals that are receiving payment. Now, this is through 7/9, so you can see if any of the landlords that maybe have talked to you maybe didn't realize that they actually are being paid, because there are properties and different things like that that are part of the puzzle. So
thank you. And your staff is doing a tremendous job like it normally does, and we do appreciate the hard work.
But do keep us informed if you folks need assistance on the case management, because when we first contracted with you, we had a discussion about this. And you said you needed to see what the usage was gonna be, and it's not fair to your organization. I mean, obviously, this benefits the entire county.
Yeah.
And you know, you guys should make sure that you're not holding the bag.
Yeah. One of the things that DHS did change recently was that the 9.09% that was supposed to be for housing stability and for administration, and they cut it up into 4.09 and 5, they have now put that all together as 9. So that gives us a little bit more flexibility to allow for 9.09 to be both admin and the case management stabilization. I think through all of the we have 400, these are the actual numbers of people, 463 adults and 404 children as of the end of June that have been helped through the program. So that's, over, 800 and almost 70, actual individuals that have been stably housed through this
I
program.
have one last question.
Mhm.
I believe we signed a contract, and I may be getting this mistaken for some other program, but I believe we signed a contract with you. And there was a fee that you could charge, an administrative fee that you could charge out of this program, which that STEP did not charge the maximum amount. So is this something that we should reconsider if you decide to add additional personnel? What would be very sad is to see that we couldn't allocate money because we didn't have enough outreach, or you didn't have enough time to process the cases.
Yeah.
And in that case, I think we could probably.
Well, that's what I was.
So I think in the agreement that it actually is 9.09, which is the maximum that DHS allows. And DHS has actually given us more flexibility to have it admin or housing stability, because the housing stability, they only had at 4%. I can tell you right now, we have 581 households that are on our caseloads that we've touched in some way. So that's individuals that we've gotten goal plans for, or individuals that have forward moving. Now that's throughout each month. And so that's not an unduplicated number, because, so the first month there was 44, the next month was 136, but those people roll. And so they could be taken off, or they could be continuing. And so, in this month, so for June, there was 229, just to give you an unduplicated count for June. But each of the months is different based on the individuals that have forward moving rent and the ones that have completed with just the arrears. Because we actually have quite a few people that are just coming in with 12 months of back rent needed. At that point, we are actually moving them to our community service block grant program, which is another case management program that we have funding for, and moving them through that process. And then we have a different case manager that works on that.
So Commissioner, that's what I was asking, and what she's telling us is DHS changed the rules. So before, they were gonna be limited to
5.09.
It wasn't a lot of money.
No, no, but now they can take from the 4, so they could do 7 and 2 or whatever. The case management for the public is going to help us after this crisis is over, because those people are now going to have housing stability and hopefully a plan. But also to the tenants there, if you're working, you should be paying something to your landlord. Don't just say, oh, I'm waiting for the money from this program, because you may not be eligible.
Mm-hmm.
You may not be eligible. And I've heard from some tenants who have said, well, we're waiting because we don't want to use our money. We have an obligation. And to the landlord, you have to be patient, because we can't just give out money without checking that leases are in place, that there is, what is said is owed. So some landlords I've run into have expressed frustration that they don't want to wait.
Very
there's an obligation to all the taxpayers to make sure that you do the due diligence.
And we are really trying. Like I said, a lot of it is, if that relationship between the tenant and the landlord and that whole packet comes, we can process that rather quickly. Now we have a line, like I said, 126 that are ready to be processed, but we're moving that along. So because that kind of rolls, every day.
They extended the time in which a landlord could evict as well.
Yes.
And that's part of the frustration. Forget the money. They don't even care about the money. They want to eliminate a bad tenant. and they're unable to do so.
Well, you can evict if someone is violating a portion of the lease. For example, let's say
Not
that-
payment.
That's not related to payment.
Yes.
You can evict for breaking a lease. You can't make a claim for the money. And
Yes.
especially if the tenant gives a document to you that
Mhm.
says they can't pay.
Thank you
Yeah.
for spending the time.
Thank you so much.
I want to just give to you one other thing. These are the DHS reports, so you can kind of see where Lycoming County is in relationship to the other counties. Some counties receive that direct federal allocation like we talked about, and those are counties that were over 200,000 of individuals. Those counties, I think, are not in as good of shape as we are because a lot of them haven't even spent any of their federal funds, and then they have to spend the state funds as well. And so, for us, knowing that ERAP2 is on the horizon, I feel like we're in good stead. We have applications. Actually, the stack I picked up this morning was this high from this weekend. So they're coming in. It's the process of waiting for all the documents that's taking some time. And we're doing a lot of education and calls and those kind of things. So these are just the 2 DHS reports for you to see those.
Initially, the monies went to counties that had 200,000 or more population, and fought hard for it, and then they went back and revisited, and the rural counties got what they were allocated, and
Just through the state, so it went through DHS rather than going through the feds.
Yep.
I'd actually much rather be
I think it
going
worked
through
out better that
DHS.
way.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because we have that direct connection. Like I said, every 2 weeks, it's tomorrow our call with the DHS to actually have the discussions and make changes.
That was amazing. Is sat through a seminar with a couple of commissioners that were from large populated counties. Their allocation was, their first allocation for the federal money was $89 million. So they're receiving $178 billion.
Yeah.
And you think, that's big money, right? And you think, did we have that much of an effect? I mean, aren't people? In many cases, a lot of people stayed at work. They all got paid. They didn't lose their health insurance. And I'd say that's more typical than not. And you look at the federal money that is being handed out, you question it. But anyway.
Yeah, and I
it's
think,
there.
we are receiving, like I said, every day more applications. And if you look at the percentage that is denied as a part of the percentages that are approved, there's a lot of people that have the case where they've lost income, they have COVID-related issues. In Lycoming County, the amount of long-term health COVID stuff is something I didn't expect, going through this. Like I said, we've had multiple people with, lung transplants and stuff like that we're assisting that, I would have never thought that before we started this program, and we're having these conversations with folks. So I think it's really important that it's out there. I think it's great that we're paying the landlords and the utilities what is owed to them, and then being able to stabilize those families, and that 404 children is super important, because that transition and moving kids is really hard. So I think we're doing good work, and I thank the county commissioners for putting your trust in step for us to do this, and we are here to support you and the residents of Lycoming County. So if you can also just send landlords to me, because I'll direct them to how to do that, okay?
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Michelle, maybe you can plan to come back in 6 months or something.
Sure.
Update us. And really, an incredibly thorough report. Thank you for it. The 404 children is really important, because when we look at the issues that we've discussed on the back end of the pipeline, right? These are kids. For kids to be homeless or for kids to not have housing stability is not good. So
Yeah,
so we thank you for
yeah, we
that.
see that,
Yeah.
and we're moving people into Head Start. We're kind of doing that whole service wraparound, which is called the full family approach, with individuals that have families, and we're actually helping them with the child tax credits. All those pieces to really try to support that family. So
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Commissioner, I recommend we try to look at a quarterly update on this.
It's fine too, yeah, that'd be great.
Great. Okay.
All right, we'll move on to action items. Director McDermott's going to present Maya Toon's items for her, so that would be 7.1 through 7.3.
Commissioners, I'd like to acknowledge the list of contracts approved by myself for the month of June. There are 10 of them. These are the contracts below $10,000.
Okay, any questions?
Mostly professional service contracts.
Hearing none, can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So carried.
7.2, would like to get your approval on the grant and monitoring agreement with River Valley Health and Dental in the amount of $25,000. This is the second installment of $25,000, and I believe this is for the vaccine education program.
And if you might allow me, Mr. Chairman, I'll try to give you a quick update on some things. So Let's End COVID, which is, I'm sorry.
You have the floor.
Okay, thanks. Let's End COVID, of which River Valley Health and Dental is an active participant, as is Rochelle from STEP and others, all those volunteers. They've been continuing to meet Tuesday. Clinton County Commissioner Angela Harding is now attending meetings, also, and is working on using materials that they've developed for Clinton County, which is great. And they're continuing with the advertising program, with the billboards, and with information and articles in the newspapers that you may have seen. They're also working with youth. There's a couple of youth that have gotten involved from the local college, and they are reaching out to high school and college age individuals, trying to find ways to reach them about where they can get a vaccine and how to get the vaccine. On July 21st, there's a YMCA walk-in COVID-19 clinic. They are trying to find ways to motivate the youth to get vaccinated. They're planning to set up and arrange an offering for vaccines at the Lycoming County Fair. Actually, there's going to be a vaccine clinic at the Bald Eagle Grange on July 24th. And you know that we're all heading down there also for a citation for the 150th anniversary. So in the Grange magazine, there's an article that magazine reaches over 100,000. So it's an effort to try to get people aware of the vaccine, availability, and why it's important for the folks who are still on the fence about getting it.
Commissioner, is this the last, is this the second 25,000?
This is the second 25.
So, is there any data out there that suggests how many people are still currently, daily, getting vaccinated?
So I can tell you what, I don't know on a daily basis, but I can tell you that in terms of our county still lags the state in terms of, I think we're at about 41%.
So that
Between
number,
40 and 41%.
Yeah, 40 and a half.
so that number really hasn't changed in the past month?
A little bit, not, so the United, we are.
About 5%.
Yeah, probably about 5%. So it becomes harder because you're now trying to find more and more people who haven't gotten vaccinated to get vaccinated. And also convincing people, there's still a large number. Commissioner, we've talked about, I don't know if you were there, I think you were there, are there other ways to try to motivate people to be vaccinated?
Well, they're definitely, it's not about motivation, it's about requirements. Now, some businesses are requiring you to get vaccinated, there's colleges that require it. We went over this last meeting, and I guess you're gonna have a lot of opposition, especially from the youths and their parents that are fearful of it, so.
On a good note, there is no one in the hospital with it. We have one case yesterday in the entire county. We've been averaging approximately a case to 2 per day countywide. And I believe we've had 2 or 3 days where there's been no hospitalizations at all. So that's very good news. So
I think one of the concerns that we should have is that, if you remember, the COVID virus really hit us later.
It hit us November 1st.
And December.
Then December and January and a
January.
little bit of February. We had, out of all the cases, between March and October 31st, we had approximately 10% of the cases. I'd say about 65 to 70% of our cases hit from November through early February. And specifically in November and December, we got hit hard.
And if you remember, in March and in April, May, and June, the rest of the country was raging. And one of the concerns that I think we need to have is the Delta variant is beginning to get traction in other places. And will it be a situation where rural communities again are hit later? So right now, we're blessed that we don't have anyone, as you said, in the hospital and so forth. But if people are not vaccinated, the variant may actually hit us in the fall again when we're back at schools and so forth. So I would just encourage people to get the information about the vaccine and protect themselves against the Delta variant and the others.
Okay, and again, this is monies that we're having PEMA reimburse us.
Yes.
Which is important to note. As Maya works with PEMA to have that directly reimbursed to the county. That was a very important part of this.
Yeah. But I do want to thank all those volunteers from Let's End COVID who are doing this, because they really are spending their time and energy because they care about the community, and we do want to thank them.
Agreed. Okay, have a motion to accept action item 7.2.
I'll move to approve.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So carried.
Commissioners, 7.3, seeking your approval on award for the bid for food products to Kiko Distributors, Feasters Inc., and Cisco, multiple lines, standard.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. So carried.
7.4 with Jason Yorks to vote on dedication and assignment agreement of landfill conveyance system by Greg Township. Jason, are you still on the line?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Commissioners, before you, for signature is, it's a capstone document in my eyes. This has been a very long project that we've taken on with Greg Township Municipal Authority. This again, I'll go over again. This is again the force main, the 6-inch force main that we constructed from the pump station on Fritz Station Road down under Route 15 in the Federal Bureau of Prison property into the equalization tank. So in the last 5 years, this project has taken on work with other municipalities, local, your DEP, PennDOT, federal government, private landowners. Been a long time coming to get to this point. This project, the document for you is the final document that gives the grants work and the material, basically the line over to Greg Township. Once that's approved today, I'll have my staff come over and pick up the document. Greg Township will have their meeting tomorrow afternoon at their facility. They will do sign off on it and approve it. So appreciate your patience with us as we work through this process over the last several years. But this will allow us to pump leachate in another direction. So we'll have 2 facilities that will accept leachate through our lines.
Okay, any questions, discussion?
So, Jason, after this is signed, the upkeep for the lines falls on whom?
Greg Township, sir.
That's what I thought. Okay, so they then will be responsible for maintaining it. We built it, and they will maintain it. And obviously, it's mutually beneficial. They get our leachate to process, which we get rid of. So,
Correct.
okay, great. Thank you for the work on this. This has been an ongoing one. A lot of moving parts.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have motion to accept.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in fair side?
Aye.
Aye, so carried. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Commissioners.
7.5, Mark Anderson, voting on approval or disapproval of the real estate refund.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Mark.
One thing I'd like to say, unfortunately Greg's not here, but I do, the Century Garden up there does hold a true meaning to me, because that is actually where I married my wife last year, on the first available day from Gary.
Did we charge you for that?
He did. What I'm here today is, I had another request for a refund of our penalties and fees issued upon delinquent taxes. The primary basis of this person's argument is that they were uninformed. They had mailed in a check they felt at the end of December of 2019 to pay them off. And at that time, that is a big transition between tax collectors and ourselves because we were going through the process of settlement. But they never received notification of a cash check or a denied check or payment for that. And through the years, they finally just made the payment here recently, requested the refund of these penalties and fees. But on our end, I'm suggesting that we deny this one because we do have evidence through certified mailers that they have been notified in 2019 or in 2020 and 2021 that this was a delinquent item.
Did this individual sign for certified mail?
I do have the print off of the certified mailer letter. I'm assuming that's her signature. I find these very difficult to read most of the time.
Could I see that?
Yeah, in 2020, when they were doing these mailers, now this was right before this one had gone out in the mail right before the kind of shutdown of our area. So the practice by the post office was still knock, signature, and then leave the mail.
Did this family or person have a history of delinquent taxes?
With this, I think this was the first year of it, but then they were also delinquent then again on the current, what would have been current that last year as well.
But prior to
that, they had been, I believe, current and up to date on their monthly or on their yearly taxes.
So she paid her county taxes at the city treasurer's office?
Yeah, it was so what they're requesting back is the penalties, fees, and interest that we charge once it comes to the tax claim office.
Right.
But it was for the city tax bill of 2019.
Okay.
But it was already paid. They did pay the tax.
She had said that she had mailed a check in on the 31st of December that year.
To the city
To the city treasurer's office, yes.
Okay, and
that was verified?
She's the only one that verifies that. I've spoken with Mr. Grimes about this, and this was something that we had talked about even back in March, February, and through those couple months because she had been calling and questioning some things, and so we had been talking with him.
Did she provide a canceled check?
No, and that's one thing that she said she had never noticed. She never paid attention into her bank statement as to whether or not it had ever been cashed, canceled, or any of those items.
so did they receive the tax payment though?
So the city themselves said they never received it.
Well, if the city said they never received it, then the taxes weren't paid on time.
Correct.
Right.
And that's why, like I said, then it made it over to us there at the start of 2020 when the settlement process was going through. The city everybody starts to turn everything over to us around the 15th of January, and then we certify it and get it brought on board.
So then when did they pay?
So they officially paid it May of this year.
She's the lady that.
You guys also received the email recently about it. Yes.
And she said she had a check written out, but it was not cashed.
Well, she had a check and went to the it went to the city, she'd have either to cancel check, or some banks don't do cancel checks, they just put it on your bank statement. They put it printed on the back of your bank statement, which then at that point, she could go back and have the bank print it and have
Right.
verification.
Yeah, yeah. As in her, in my talkings with her, the understanding was that the check was obviously never cashed.
It's possible the check was lost.
Yes.
I mean, so the hard thing about something like this is that there's nothing worse than bureaucracy. If you've ever tried to deal with the IRS, and we hate to become another bureaucrat. On the other hand, right, we have an obligation because all the other people who didn't pay on time paid their penalties. Right?
Yeah.
Whose copy is that? Is that his copy?
Yeah, you guys can. I can hand this.
No, we have a copy. Okay.
Yeah, you have a copy of the letter.
Well, I would make, after, reviewing her history and listening to her story, I would make a motion to vote on approving the refund.
And Commissioner, based on the fact that you had a chance to talk to her personally, I would second that because I have not spoken to her personally, but it sounds as though you talked to her and that you have some sense that, okay, well then I will second that.
Okay. A motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So carried.
Commissioners, if I may have one more minute here.
Yeah.
And this is just a public announcement in regards to our upset sales and our judicial sales that are now coming up. Governor Wolf signed in a bill. It was House Bill 264, known as Act 33 now. And what this does is it requires a pre-registration for all sales that go through our office. We are in the process of creating our online registrations, rules, procedures, and such. We will be making this publicly known through our postings through the paper, through the Lycoming Reporter. It's currently listed on our website, just in a brief blip, saying that this is now going to be in effect. But we're in the process of notifying as much as we can to the public and the different tax collection agencies here through the school districts, the municipalities, because we have to work with them now on keeping these registrations current and accurate and making sure that those that do register do not have any kind of liens through the municipality, through the county, in order to be a true registered bidder for our sales.
What type of labor burden is that going to put on your department?
It's not going to be excessive. It gives us a little bit more of a definitive time to get the work done that we generally have to do the morning of the sales. Here, every registrant that comes in, we need to then have them verify that they do not have any delinquent taxes throughout the county. So this actually closes pre-registration 10 days before the sales. And in that 10 days, that gives us a relaxed time really to dive in. We know that we have people that come in that have 7 different names that own property through the county. So it gives us a chance to have a listing of those, verify that they are all current. So really, in actuality, it's going to put more work on Pam.
Yeah.
Because she will be the one that primarily handles the registration, because it is required to be an in-person registration. We won't be accepting emails, faxes, snail mail for this.
Okay. So it's a benefit.
Yeah, it was something that that Pam and I had talked about implementing come next year once we got through this year again. So pre-registration was something that was already in our mindset to get done. Now we just have a tighter deadline, really.
Thank you.
So,
Thanks, Mark.
thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Director McDermott's also going to do 7.6.
Commissioners seeking your approval on a contract extension for conflict attorney Gina Longo. This is not to exceed $40,000. It extends the expiration date from 31 August 2021 to 31 May 2022.
Okay, any questions? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
7.7, John Lavelle, approve R.K. Webster contract for engineering services.
Morning, John.
Good morning, Commissioners. So this is for our floodplain utility elevation program. It's an alternative project to buyouts. So we're trying to broaden our horizons here and work on more things in the floodplain to help mitigate damages in the future. Again, other than buyouts. So RK Webster's contract is kind of a full wraparound type engineering services agreement. So it covers everything from design, bid prep, bid review, and then construction verification as well. So what we're doing here today is extending their contract to December 31st, 2023. We're adding a design task to a current structure to insulate a retrofitted utility room. And then we're going to add one more home to this current contract. And our goal then is to, after we have 3 houses here in the queue, and after we complete these, we'd like to see how we can expand the program and do a little bit more outreach to utilize our FAIR funds in this way. Which, again, this program is actually fully covered by FAIR.
Any questions? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, so carried. Thank you, John.
7.8, Shannon Rossman, voting on UGI Pipeline Investment Program.
Morning, Shannon.
Morning, Commissioners.
As you know, we received the Commonwealth Financing Agency grant for about 30% of the cost of installing the gas pipeline to Digger Specialties over at Timber Run Industrial Park. So this is just a subrecipient agreement with UGI that we're going to work with them. We signed this. They'll be doing the engineering, they'll be doing the pipe installation. We'll have an RFP once they get their engineering and design done. They'll give us an RFP standard so we can put an RFP out for the trenching and backfilling for the land that's on the RMS property. And then the land going underneath Route 15, UGI handles the HOP with PennDOT, and they also will handle the rest of the line into the facility. So as soon as they receive this, they do need it by end of day tomorrow so that they can move forward with their process. But as soon as they receive this, they'll get moving.
Okay.
So.
Sounds good. Any questions or comments?
And this is going to help us with any of the entities that want to
There
purchase
is
in Timber Run.
What this does is it gets gas to Digger. There is some excess, but not a lot. It's kind of when you put in a sewer treatment plant, because they are also a public utility. They cannot build too much excess capacity in their line. However, from what I understand, if we get another applicant for Timber Run Industrial Park, they would work with that applicant to do some other upgrades throughout the system that would then increase the amount of gas being able to be used in that line. So there's going to be more work involved because it's not something, as I said, they cannot put too much excess capacity into the line. They're not allowed to.
Right, but I guess the point is that we don't have any access to gas right now, but we'll now have access to that industrial park for natural gas, which will help us.
Yep, there will
sell
be.
The land.
They are definitely interested in providing more. Will be some system upgrades that will be needed in the future.
Right.
Okay. Have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, so carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner comment?
In reference to Digger, this Friday at 10 a.m., there will be a groundbreaking ceremony over We're at the Timber Run Industrial Park. We're excited to have Digger in town, and as we break ground, it'll be starting construction here in August. And hopes to be open first quarter of 2022. So we're very excited that after a year process, this is moving forward, and we look forward to many years as Digger being in our community and establishing jobs, 150 initially and up to 225 he's proposing. So it's an exciting time for the county and for new development in our county.
I guess my comment would be about election integrity, and I would ask the Sun Gazette and Web to start to pay attention to what's going on and reporting it to our constituents. I see that the governor vetoed a bill for voter ID. Currently, we are looking at electronic poll books. We'll get more information out to the public as we evaluate their effectiveness, their security, and whatnot. I guess my biggest concern, a couple concerns that I have, that we see that there has been audits that be taking place in, I think, was 3 counties in Pennsylvania?
Philadelphia, Allegheny, and Tioga.
And they take possession of the voting machines and everything that we have. And then that causes some concerns as far as custody and control. We no longer know what's happening to those machines. And in some cases, in other states, they have to purchase all new equipment once this is done. That's not necessarily the case here, but we are a little concerned about that. If they were to come in and do audits and take all of our equipment that we just purchased 2 years ago.
Commissioner, the only disclaimer I would add to that.
Yes, please.
Is that I don't know that the committee or group that's doing this audit actually took possession yet, but that's the plan.
But that's the plan, right?
Right, although our county is not
No,
one of the
No,
three.
it's not
Tioga.
yet.
Right.
So, to getting back to the election integrity, I don't see any reason why requesting an ID from a voter is considered suppression of the vote. I don't understand that. No one's going to these people. There's rules to vote, okay? And you either follow the rules or you don't. So how can that be called voter suppression if no one's actually stopping them from registering legally? To me, it's obvious. But we need to correct this. And we will have a series of meetings. And I think both Democrats and Republicans alike, we want a fair election. But we don't need the rhetoric behind it. We need the facts and the data. And I will make a comment here today that I was for mail-in ballots. Many Republicans used it. But I was shocked to hear today that the outside envelope that you signed and mailed in didn't necessarily have to match your signature for it to be counted. Not that that happened, But if it does, why should that not be a red flag? Or why shouldn't we be concerned? Why should we be counting it? Why shouldn't we be putting it aside? And there were a number of things addressed by this Republican legislators this year and presented to the governor that he vetoed. I have no reason to believe that he should have vetoed it, and we're just going to have to continue to push for election integrity, period. And I want to thank the legislators, because it's common sense law to put bills in front of this governor that makes sense, and yet he still vetoed it. So I'd really like the paper to do election integrity issues prior to the election, and put it out there for all people to see. We have capable people to answer any questions and any concerns, and it should be something that is reported.
And just to add to Commissioner Massar's comments, I've said before, it's mind-boggling why photo ID is not required. You need photo ID for everything, to cash a check, to go into buildings. You need a photo ID to attend the Republican and Democrat conventions for the candidates that you're voting for. You need a photo ID to go to the conventions, but you don't need a photo ID to walk in and vote for them. And that is the first thing that is a major red flag. That's something that can be easily corrected. And for the Vice President of the United States to make a comment that rural America can't photocopy their IDs is ludicrous. We're not smart enough to figure out how to photocopy an ID when you have phones, when you have so many ways to copy things. That can be done very easily. And they say it's a waste of taxpayers' money. And if it's a waste of taxpayers' money, why are they meeting in Philadelphia today? Why is the president coming up to Philadelphia if this is such a waste of taxpayers' money? It's not a waste of taxpayers' money because if we don't have election integrity, then we don't have government, we don't have America, we don't have a fair election. So it's not a waste of taxpayers' money. We have to get it right, and it has to be corrected so that it never happens again. And these red flags need to be fixed immediately so that people have faith in the election system, or they're not going to vote. And that's the very least that can be done, is to make sure this is fair and honest and done properly.
And can I add one more comment?
Yeah.
Chairman? You know, this is important, and Commissioner Maravito, you may be able to elaborate on this a little bit more since you were state representative at one time. But if there's one thing that I've heard over the 10 years of being a commissioner, is that, well, our intent of the legislation was good, but then the policy comes out, and it's not. And our Republican legislature, both in the House and the Senate, voted for Act 77, and there were dire consequences because of this act. It was a Republican-controlled House and Senate. They voted for it. My point is this: tighten up your legislation. Don't leave it into the hands of judges. This is a tragedy, and we've seen it across the country. So when you write legislation, try to think of everything, all the pros, all the cons, before you draft it and approve it. Because they're backpedaling now. These legislators are sitting here saying, well, now we introduced more stuff, but he vetoed it. You should have known before you passed the legislation that things like this could happen. And maybe you can comment there. I don't know. I'm sure you voted on many pieces of legislation.
So part of the problem in the state legislature is that, and I'm not, this happens in, I'm sure in state legislatures that are controlled by the Democrats.
Right.
When one party controls the House and the Senate, you tend to get one-sided legislation, whether it's a state that's Democratic or a state that's Republican. And so you really have to truly have people who are going to put the party aside and say, we want to solve a problem and we want to work with both sides to find the solution. So a lot of the legislation that comes out, because it's perceived as very one-sided amendments, I don't know on Act 77 whether they had allowed amendments from both sides or not. So I'm not saying that. I'm just talking generally about how our government runs. And it's not one party or the other. It's happens in places where the Democrats are in control, it happens in places where the Republicans are in control. That we move from trying to solve a problem to trying to put forth a agenda that satisfies the base of the party in power. And so when we do that, we don't really get solutions. What we get is legislation that comes out, and then there's a reaction to it by the other side, whether it's vetoing it or whatever. And again, I'm not talking about, I'm just talking very generally, because I don't know whether they did. They may have truly had an attempt at trying to work together on the Act 77. I don't know.
It was passed.
Well, yeah, but it could have been passed, even, when I say work together, I mean that they really sat down and dug in and took each other's ideas back and forth. And for some reason, I think that they did do that with Act 77. I think that they did. You know, it's a complicated issue on the voting, but if you look at as a process that we tried to solve some problems with Act 77, for example, we came to realize that the amount of time to send those mail-in ballots back was too short, right? So they extended it. And so sometimes we can't solve all the problems in one bill, and the question is, can we keep moving towards it? And not get bogged down in our sort of partisan perspective on it. And hopefully that'll happen. I think everybody wants a fair election. I mean, it's not, you know, there's no, and I think we have to try to get away from using the standard of the last presidential election in our conversation as to whether it was fair. Because when we get into that, then what happens is we get into a quagmire of all the things associated with that. And just sort of try to look objectively at, okay, what makes sense? You know.
Look, the message just happened in New York. They had an election, it was, you know, their election board's getting litigated. It's a mess.
Well, it is a hot topic in Lycoming County. It's one that we are at the forefront of. I mean, that's one of our jobs. And we're gonna need to spend a little bit more time on this.
And we talked, I think, yesterday about the concern with the, well, maybe I mentioned it, the concern with the senator who wants to use the subpoena power to get hold of the machines. So after those machines go out of the control of the Board of Elections, which is us, and the election department, we would probably have to buy new machines because we couldn't, you know, that's what happened in Arizona, right? Once they turned those machines over to a third party that had nothing to do with the Board of Elections, they had to go out and buy new machines, which is, we know, we just bought our machines over $1 million. So, I mean, in some ways, I would not be happy if he subpoenaed our machines, because we would then, in order to really have election integrity, have to buy new machines.
Well, it could be an argument for the other side, though. You know, I don't know who's going to take control of the machine.
Well, if it's anyone other than the Board of Elections and the county department, then they're compromised, right? We wouldn't let someone, we don't even let people come in when they, you know, you have to stay back so far, those machines come in, they're then turned over, it's watched by the sheriff and everything. So that's something for us to have to, hopefully we don't have to cross that bridge.
Do you have any comments?
Oh,
Okay. Anything further? Okay, public comment? Scott Miller, 822 Tucker Street. One, boy, y'all need to make it where I can park for more than 2 hours within walking distance of here, because it's technically illegal and I can be ticketed if I'm over 2 hours, and I try to arrive a little bit early. That's the way I was raised and taught, so just want to make a note of that. Previously, y'all asked for recommendations on how to spend approximately $22 million that the county is going to get from the federal government, if I'm correct. Myself, I'm an older person. I'm also disabled. My daughter's autistic, and through OVR, CareerLink, STEP, and Skills, they have different programs for employment training and getting people into the workforce. I see on TV advertised where in Northeast PA, even AARP actually pays older people to come in and get training so they can get into the job market. And so it'd be, you know, I don't know if it's allowed. You know, I don't think anybody knows for sure exactly what is or isn't allowed with that money, but it'd be nice if different agencies in Lycoming County could get a little bit extra funding for employment training for elderly and disabled people. In the past, we wanted to extend water and sewer lines to areas for development, and I know it's very costly to do, and I don't know if it's something that would be allowed, but I'd sure love to see us put the infrastructure in and provide jobs to bring development investment. And I don't mean just industrial or commercial, you know, even residential, you know, I mean, you know. And the last thing I was thinking about is because of the recycling center fiascos that have been happening, and I've brought this up before, I would love to see some funds put into recycling education, to go to schools or senior centers or wherever you can get a group of people together. But I would focus mainly in schools because it's, you know, you got groups of people, and I kind of half jokingly say, you know, we as a society need to recycle better, so let's indoctrinate our kids at school. You know, I assume all of y'all have kids, and if you ever had a kid that, you know, dad, mom, you know, amusing story is when my daughter was 8, Santa Claus bought her the iPad that she wanted, and Santa Claus didn't tell his wife and snuck it in on Christmas Eve and just played it off of like, you know, I don't know where it came from. And my daughter told her mother that you didn't believe in Santa Claus and that's why he got you nothing. So, you know, I'd really love to see us educate mainly the kids. I'm old. I still have to try to remember to put my seatbelt on, you know, but if we can reach these young kids, and like I say, you know, there's a lot of senior centers and groups that get together, that it'd be nice if Jason had a little bit of funding to send people around to, you know, this is recyclable, you need to rinse out your can, you know, this isn't recyclable because, but that's basically it. Okay, thank you, Scott.
And my parking meter is running out as I speak.
Thanks.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
You too. Yes.
Michelle Smith says, will you be going back to reading of the bid results for the landfill gas wells, liquid pumps, air compression project? So I think she may have just handed that would be the.
We're gonna open those bids.
actually read the bids.
No.
Hey, Eileen, it's Nikki. I'm still on the line.
Yes.
Yeah, we opened those this morning. I didn't have them all finished before it got to me. I can read them off if you'd like me to.
Yes, please.
Well, this is a problem. Bids should be open in the public.
I don't have a computer downstairs.
Right,
So-
but I'm saying, we can't ignore the fact that these are sealed bids.
Absolutely.
And these bids should be open in this meeting.
Solicitor, let's ask Mr. Smith.
We've asked the solicitor before about this.
We did, okay, and what did he say? Mr.
He
Smith?
said it's fine.
It is acceptable not to open bids in public meetings. I'm going to suggest to you that most jurisdictions that we represent that have, that receive bids do it in a controlled private setting and then announce the results in a public meeting. I know that's not necessarily consistent with the county's past practice, but there's no requirement that the bids be opened in a public meeting.
Okay.
Well, what,
Nikki, why don't you prepare them, and we'll announce what they are next meeting, what the amounts were and what we accepted. Would that be acceptable to both commissioners?
yeah.
Well,
she
well,
might-
well,
if she
first
can
of
read
all-
them, if she can read them, she might be able to just read them.
Well, she can read these today, but I'm
That's
saying in
what
the
I mean.
future.
Oh, in the future,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
First of all, that may be acceptable, but it's not acceptable to me.
Right.
I mean, how, and I'm just using you as an example, Nikki, it's a bid, and you have a friend that's bidding on a project, and and your bid comes in 3 weeks, and you open up that bid, and you call your friend and say, hey, his bid was 15,000. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Tony, it's impossible. We do these on pen bid.
Okay, so it's electronic.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we no longer have all the envelopes that.
No, no more.
I did not realize we did everything on pen.
Okay, so Nikki, once the bid is submitted, it's submitted and it can't be retracted.
Right.
That is correct.
So it's an electronic record of when it was submitted, date, time stamp, all that good jazz.
And then when it was open.
Right, if we print it and then put it on the agenda for the following week, then that way it'll be
Okay.
transparent that way.
So she gave us the list, so she could actually read these.
Actually, now that they're opened, anybody can go on pen bid and read the results themselves.
Okay?
And is that's on our website as well? I mean,
You'll have to check with Maya on that.
But what's the address for the bid site that you just mentioned?
Penbid.com.
Penbid.com, PENNBID.com.
Correct.
Okay, so the constituent who sent us the email can actually go on penbid.com and look at them?
Yes.
Yes, as soon as I click open, yes, anybody can look at them.
Okay, why don't we do that? Okay?
thanks, Nikki.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Carlos Saldivia, I don't follow Step on social media, but I have not seen any sharing or promoting content of any outreach they may be doing.
Okay. We're gonna make that a priority then, because there's still monies available, a lot that can be assisting a lot of people in the area. Okay, so we'll definitely be pushing that. And if the Sun Gazette would please add that too, that if there's any landlords or utility companies out there, tenants that could benefit from this program due to COVID, again, underlying that people that have been affected by COVID, that they should please apply.
And if people are not sure whether they've been affected by COVID, they should call Step because they may.
Or ask.
Yeah, or ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commissioner, I just confirmed for the pen bid stuff, it is actually on lyco.org under purchasing department. Departments, go down to purchasing, go to the bottom of the page.
Can you speak in the mic, sir?
The pen bid information is available on lyco.org. If you go under the department tab, go down to purchasing, click on that. At the bottom of that page, all the bid solicitations and solicitation results are on there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, our meeting will be adjourned. Our next meeting will be on July the 20th here in this room. It actually will be, if you paid attention today, it'll be our 65th anniversary of the Conservation District. So, on July 20th. So,
Very good.
yeah, I picked that up.
And Gordon Hiller is still alive, who was one of the folks who founded the Conservation District. And we thank him for his
Yeah, absolutely.
forward-looking
We founded the
ability to do that.
Conservation District back then.
1956.
That's
You were-
1 year after I was born.
You were a wonder.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
And that river is still as muddy as it was today.
What do you need?
Do you think we're ever gonna stop?
Hey, the $25,000 for the River Valley Health and Wellness, so that's reimbursed by PETA.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other 25,000 was.
Thank you.
Well, that's what we're working on. Yeah. The invoices that are being, have to be sent back.
Okay. Hey, so I imagine in principle you favor what Senator Mastriano is trying to do with these audits, but you don't want to be faced, you don't want Lycoming County to face the prospect of turning over their machines. Is that right, or am I reading it wrong?
Well, I don't want it to be misconstrued.
Right.
There are, every precinct, every county can do certain things differently,
Yeah.
right? And we feel very confident that our process is correct, and we do our own audit